Hey, what's going on everybody? This is my tutorial for the any percent speedrun of the System Shock Remake, and currently everything is being done on the latest patch of the game as of August 6th, 2023. Down the line, if you're watching this sometime in the future, things may have been patched or changed, but I'm going to run you through some of the options that we use, some things that you're going to need to know, and then we're going to be hopping into the run, and I'll be teaching you the strats, what to do, where to go, all that good stuff. This game isn't mechanically difficult, but there are some tricky sections in terms of the routing. So, let's go over the options real quick, the things that you need to know. And at gameplay, you want to make sure that you have focus camera on puzzles turned on. This is going to allow you to get inbounds later on in the run. If you don't have this turned on, that becomes significantly harder. Auto slot hotbar is something I like having turned on. This is kind of a preference thing. It lets me know exactly where weapons and different patches are going to pop up on my hotbar. So, once again, just play around with this, customize it the way you want. And I'd also suggest having reload can use batteries. This means if you have your laser weapons out, you can hit reload and you'll consume a battery to get energy back, which is also kind of important later on in the run, but not 100% necessary. Everything else is kind of preference. Once again, show tutorials I would recommend turning off just so they don't get in your way. Under controls, you want to make sure you have toggle crouch turned off. This is if this is turned on, you cannot do the quick save, quick load method to get out of bounds, which is basically the only trick that we have in the run that we abuse a lot. So if you're having trouble getting out of bounds, double check that you have toggle crouch turned off. Under keybinds, the things that you will want to make sure you have readily available. I do use pretty heavily customized keybinds. I've included an input down below so you can see my keys that I press and the mouse buttons that I hit as well. So if you ever see me hit ESDF, that is my movement keys. Just kind of keep that in mind. I will usually try to say the actual action instead of the key press. Jump and crouch, pretty important, pretty standard stuff. Make sure you have lean, left, and right bound. Mine are on L and K. These are actually mouse buttons for me. So, once again, just have those readily available because you'll be leaning to get back in bounds quite a bit. Interact's very important. Reload's important. Mode switch is also an important feature. This is going to allow you to swap the fire rate on the laser rifle and the pistol. Pretty important things. A lot of this other stuff doesn't matter too much. You don't need anything in hardware toggle bounds. Turbo boots you could bind if you really want to. I don't think it's necessary and probably not recommended, but if you're having trouble moving around with the turbo boots on and kind of the ice physics that they give, you can bind something to toggle those, but not absolutely necessary. Cyberspace, you don't need to worry about anything here. We will not be going into cyberspace at all. And then make sure you have quick load and quick save bounds. I use up and down on my arrow keys personally. This is just something that I'm used to doing and familiar with, but find something that works for you. Under display, most of the stuff does not matter. All preference, I would recommend having brightness turned up quite a bit. So when we get in the dark spots of the game, you can see better. If you want to go higher, that's fine. If not, once again, cyberspace, you don't need to worry about at all. Under graphics, once again, all preference. We don't need high frame rate for this game. Everything should work at 60 frames, 144, uncapped, whatever. Just preference there once again. Volume, preference. I will say though, if you're planning on running this game and uploading runs to YouTube, the final song for the credits does get claimed on YouTube. So if you ever want to monetize your videos or something like that, even on Twitch, it can get muted. You can either play with the music off entirely, so you can avoid that. So actually is a PAC file, a PAK file that you can download in the Speedrun Discord that will remove the final song while leaving the rest of the music intact. I will leave a link to the Speedrun Discord itself down in the comments below in a pinned message and also in the description, or you can go to speedrun.com, look for the System Shock Remake Speedrun page, and then find the Discord link from there. Finally, under accessibility, most of the stuff also does not matter. I'd recommend turning head bob off just because it's kind of annoying. I like to have subtitles on just so I can kind of see a couple things here and there. And then user interface doesn't matter at all. I like lithium, but I just think it looks clean. So now that you have all that stuff set, figured out your preferences, we'll be hopping into a new game. This is going to be covering the 1-1-1-1 route, everything on the lowest difficulties. You could apply this to higher difficulties if you wanted to, but there's not really a good reason. So all you need to do now is hit confirm, and we're going to be starting the intro cutscene. Once you skip that cutscene is when time will start. We don't really have an official live split auto splitter or load remover. There is one that is available in the Speedrun Discord once again that you can grab that will work for the current Steam version of the game if you're using the Epic version or some other version out there, it probably won't work. So you're gonna have to start and stop the timer on your own, but I'll let you know the spots to do that. So hit confirm. You can hit escape to start skipping this cutscene, hold it down, and once you hit skip, that's when time would start. So normally you have to wait for this little PC, you're just like waiting around for it, but if you go around and you hit buttons around the room, I don't have a precise number for you, I'm sorry, I've never quite figured out the most optimal buttons, but the route I use is touch the guitar, touch this little radio, click a few of these, and then I click a few of these. The laptop gets done faster, so just kind of play around with that. You're not going to lose too much time either way. And then you have to sit through this cutscene of the cops breaking in and taking you up to the Citadel. So once the cop knocks you out, you can hit escape once again and hold it down to start skipping this cutscene. Now immediately when the bottom left icon disappears and you get that, you can do a quick save, quick load, and you'll be in the medical bay. You want to grab this little med pack over on the side, but you can actually grab it from the ramp. Just grab it in the corner and walk down and press the button. So there's a little bit of an optimization you can do whenever you pick up certain weapons or certain items, and that is to swap to a different thing. So to do that, I just use my mouse wheel. You can see it on the input there. So I'm going to pick up this pipe, but I'm going to scroll over to the med pack I just got. So instead of watching that cutscene, we just go back to here. Open up the briefcase. You do have to watch the cutscene for the key card, but once you pick up this little navigation, you don't need the one in the middle, the data reader. You just need this navigation, which is going to give you the mini map, which is very important for the run. You're going to pick that up and interact the key card over here on the door. It's going to skip looking at that, and you're going to move on. So swap to your lead pipe. Recommended to take out this guy and pick up this berserk pack in the corner. I'm going to take this guy out too. And if you have the focus on puzzles, which you should have turned on, when you go to look at this, instead of having to press the buttons from outside, you can actually use your numpad. So instead of having to press the buttons, I just hit it on my numpad, 451. Code's always the same. Hit this guy, but you want to try to sneak past him so you can hit this. Oh, so this door starts opening earlier. You can check his body for loot. Sometimes he'll have stuff, which he actually had god tier loot for me. So I'm just going to hit Y to take all that. Taking all from the menu is also pretty important to have. It's one thing I forgot to mention in the options. Make sure you know what your take all button is. That way you can loot stuff really, really fast. He's not always going to have stuff on him. Sometimes he has nothing, just junk, which is perfectly fine. We're going to get all the resources we need anyways. This is just going to be extra if you get something. So continue on, pick up this stamina pack, and then you want to click on this door to open this one. We're going to kill this guy off, hopefully with one shot. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it's two. Between hits, you can pick up the stamina pickup, and you should have another enemy popping up and pick up this berserk over here. So you should have, ideally, one med pack, 2 stamina ups, and 2 berserks. If you got more, awesome, but not necessary. So when you run back out here, you're probably going to have an enemy. If not, he's walking towards you. If you want to go really fast and optimize it, just don't even bother killing him. You're just going to continue on the route, but I'm going to show you kind of the safe way to get through here and the consistent way. So at any point, you can also make a quick save. You can make a hard save so you can practice the stuff coming up. In this wall here, very important to pick up this grenade on the shelf. It's frag grenade. There's just the one. And if you want to be optimal, you would just continue down the path. But if you come over to this wall here, you can open this one as well and get 2 more med packs. I would highly recommend doing this until you have a really good time, because it's a couple seconds, but the med packs are very, very useful. So what you're going to do is run down this hallway. You do have stamina, so if you run for too long, you're going to run out of stamina and move slower. That's perfectly fine. That's why we have the stamina ups for later on when we do a lot of running. But for now, just run down. Don't worry about stamina. Try to avoid getting hit by stuff as you run through here. And make your way over to this elevator. Press the button, go up. So just try to avoid getting hit. Having high health is not super important. We're going to actually do a death warp later on, so we want to have somewhat low health, so the frag grenade can kill us, but we don't want to have too low that we actually die from fall damage or something. So open this door, charge your energy up from this battery. This guy is typically around the corner by this camera, but because I took some time to talk, he's not there. Don't worry about the camera at all. Just go in the door, and when you pick up this laser gun, swap on your hotbar to anything. Once again, just lead pipe, frag grenade, whatever it may be, mouse wheel it, and then you can bring it right back out. We're going to be using this here in a second. So if we want to do optimal strats, this is where the mode switch comes into play. Instead of having to go into your inventory and swapping this from charge, low, and overcharged, which we'll be changing through a lot between high and over for different things. You can just hit that button, mine's middle mouse wheel, just click it down, and we want it on high charge for the upcoming part. But you want to ideally do that as you're setting up this out of bounds. I'm going to show you 2 spots to get out of bounds. This one relies on this little TV computer thing to always be in the same spot, but it'll move because it's a prop half the time. So you want to ideally crouch jump on top of this, and you want to crouch jump on here. Quick save, quick load. And what should happen if this didn't move on you is you should have something along these lines. Once again, if you are not getting out of bounds, make sure that you have toggle crouch turned off. Otherwise, when you reload a save, you're going to be in a crouch state and not standing up like this. So if this happens, you can just spam jump, hold forward a little bit, and it's perfectly fine if you go forward, but you know, if you die, then just quick load. And if this doesn't work, this has fallen off, or you just can't get that to work, what you can do is come back out here, jump on this railing. Usually I think a crouch jump is the only way to get up here. Yeah, crouch jump here, and then crouch jump up on this little small box. So what I found works best for me is to stand in this right-hand corner as far back as I can go, turn around, and look at the wall in this little spot. Anywhere here should work. So I will warn you that this spot has a pretty high chance of crashing your game. I think it's due to some of the enemies around here or the cameras being alerted to you. And if you hit quick save and nothing happens, just from this point on, that probably means you're in combat, and it's something to be aware of. If you go to quick save, quick load here, and a camera spotting you or the little robot, you're not actually going to get the quick save, and your quick load's going to go back to whatever the last save you made was. So if you're doing multiple runs, you might end up at the final stage of the game and have to basically restart. So make sure you go to quick save, quick load, and if your game doesn't crash, or if you crash, you can boot it back up, and you should actually be in the same state. Just once again, hold forward and spam, and you should pop out. So this is going to be our first out of bounds that we do, and the mini-map is going to become your best friend. I realize now that I need to move my mouse inputs. I'm going to move that to the top left here real quick. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, you can actually see the mini-map, which would be pretty important for you. You're going to have to memorize a lot of where to go based on just the mini-map. Sometimes you can do a quick save, quick load on top of something to see where you're walking and what you're doing, but it's a lot of kind of memorizing the map without seeing it. So most of the time you will not be able to see this area. Just kind of follow my path on the mini-map. Turn right here. This is also why I like and would recommend having the mini-map be static and not turning. Once again, a preference thing. I just think this is very easy to follow along with. So I cross over this line. And once you get here, you can actually do a quick save, quick load, which is going to make this part of the map appear. Crouch jump up on top. This is a little bit of a weird section to do. You need to basically break these 4 servers, but you can't just shoot them from anywhere. You need to be aiming and standing in like somewhat specific spots. It's not overly precise, but sometimes you'll think you're hitting these, but you're actually just hitting some bit of collision. So you want to shoot the first one 3 times, the second one 4 times. So 4 shots is enough to make one explode. But if you have one that's taken 3 shots, the explosion from one will actually blow up the other. So also make sure to not overheat the gun. You can see that green bar on the gun. It will slowly build up to yellow, then red, and once it hits the max, it will overcharge and it'll overheat, and we'll have to have a cooldown. So just kind of space out your shots. So if you've done it correctly, you will blow up both of these together, and now you want to proceed to the other side. So you can actually shoot them from kind of a right-hand angle, but I always have trouble actually getting that to work. So I go a little bit more left, kind of mirroring that side. And we're going to do this pretty much the same as we just did for those 2, but on the second one, instead of shooting it 4 times, we're going to actually change our gun to the overcharge selection. That looks like this, and basically one-shot this. So go back to high, shoot this one 3 times, And it does matter how much of the bar is gone. I don't know the exact spot you can shoot an overcharge shot, but an overcharge is going to take your gun from whatever it's currently at on the bar to the overheat state and apply all of that type of damage. So it's going to do more damage as an overcharge shot if you have a lower bar. So it should blow up both. And the optimal thing to do is to put this back on high as you're running back. So if it doesn't blow up perfectly on either side, just keep shooting it. If you are missing, you're not sitting in the right spot, and you run out of energy, that's what quick saves and quick loads are for. Just quick load again, try it, and just learn from it. So once you've blown up all 4 of these, you want to turn around, sprint off of this. There's one tricky spot when you're navigating out of bounds here. If you can see on the mini map in the bottom left, I've kind of started going down this pathway, but I can't hold forward and go past it. You have to do a crouch jump and then walk forward from there. You can sprint, but be careful. Not all ceilings in this game are made equally. Sometimes they will just throw you out of bounds depending on if they're sloped, or if you've run off of height onto a lower part of the ceiling, they can also give you some extra speed. But just continue on this path, and from here go into this door and quick save, quick load on top of here. This is the cyborg reconstruction area. So we just want to hop across here. You can also just run along that way if you want to, if you don't want to cross the void. You know, it's just walk over. And this is a little bit tricky, so you just quick save there, but if you want to quick save here as well, it's perfectly okay. Never really a bad thing to quick save. You want to crouch and walk over top of this. If you walk too far, you will fall. Just be careful not to do that. But what you're looking for is to be far enough over the void and off the side of this collision that you can lean in and hit this. So once the big box comes around the lever, that means you can actually interact with it. That's going to allow you to use the station, so when you die, instead of just having a game over, you're going to warp back in bounds and be here. The most optimal way is to actually hold left click so you pre-cook this grenade. It won't explode in your hand until you throw it, but it does make this a little tricky, so I kind of like pre-cook it here and then start crouching to get in this spot. So me personally, I have pretty wacky keybinds, so I have crouch on both my mouse and on R. This just kind of makes it easy for me to hold left click and pre-cook the grenade, crouch, and I also have lean on my mouse so I can lean, look for this, and if you can't interact with this, you just need to walk a little bit further. Instead of walking this way and having all that momentum, I'd suggest walking into the wall so you can kind of tap it and move little by little, get a little bit more precise with it. Hit that, walk back up here a little bit so the grenade doesn't fly off the map as well. Throw it, it should blow up instantly, killing you. And then you'll have to sit through this decently long screen that will take you back in bounds. Nothing you can do to speed this up at all. So I'd recommend having your spark queue out and then just sprinting through here. If enemies get in your way, just try to headshot them. It should be enough to one kill them on high damage. I'd recommend not using the overcharged weapon here. Go up to the research and you're past the first level of the game. So from here, you just run past these guys, click on the door. You don't have to click on the actual panel. Anywhere on the door will work. So to avoid getting hit by this guy, click as far left on the door as possible and kind of to hold the side. You don't have to worry too much about taking damage. We'll talk about that here in just a second, but I'm going to kill this guy off because it's annoying. And you want to hit this switch, walk back around, hit the elevator switch. You can open this door on the way up and kill off this nerd here. We're going to do another death warp at the end of this level. So we want a little bit of health, but you can play around with it. I only like to use one med pack here. That tends to be enough to keep me safe, but still on low health. If you want to be a little bit safer, you can kill a couple more enemies along the way. I would say you want to keep, ideally, 2 med packs going into further areas. So if you've picked up an extra one like I have, you can use that. But if you don't have med packs for later, they can be a little bit riskier. So you just have to eventually get used to running one part of it with low health if you start using more and more. So if you're a little scared of this area, just make a quick save and something goes wrong. Quick loaded, obviously. So you want to start popping a stamina up. I like to kill the first guy before I do that. You're going to be doing a lot of running, so it's going to run out pretty soon. So you can either pop it and then kill this guy. You can kill this guy. Once again, try to go for headshots if you can. That guy's a one-shot as well. You can kill this guy, tend to leave him alive. Shoot this robot twice. You don't need to kill this big one. Hit that middle switch so that they're all lined to the top. That's the only switch you need to hit. And then charge your battery on the station. So you're walking back. This is where I like to pop my med pack. Go back out the same door we came in. So if enemy gets in your way, you can shoot him. You can keep running. This guy takes 5 shots. Perfectly fine to kill him as well. I would not tend to worry about the guy on the right, nor the guy in this room. Just grab the key card from the table. Walk back out. You can't skip the key card cutscene, so it doesn't bother like swapping weapons at all. And so go back out to the way we came in and go through this door that says teleporter. Take the teleporter, pick up everything on the shelf, these 3 grenades, the pistol, and the ammo. You can swap off the pistol there. And we want to go down this ladder. You can jump over it and take the damage. A lot of times this will actually do a lot of damage and flat out kill you, so be a little careful if you have health in the first bar or so. I think I should be able to survive this, but yeah, sometimes you'll just take even more damage for no reason. You can get on the ladder and jump off of it, that's perfectly fine too. And having high health isn't a big importance. So we're going to do a death warp, so have your grenade out. Should be able to open this. That key we just went and got is the one that opens this, so if you get here and the key is not working, you don't have one, that's the key you missed. Anyways, go in here, you can throw a grenade and then loot all from this body. He's going to have 3 EMPs and this engineering key card that we want for later as well. So you can just pick this all up and then throw a grenade. The ideal strat is to throw it, loot all, and this will take us back to the beginning of research. If you die here and you end up back in medical, that means you just didn't hit the switch in the beginning of research. You'll just have to take the elevator back up and find your path through here. So from the station, you want to head to the right. There's going to be one enemy here that you can kill off and open this. Once again, this key card is the same one that we already got back there, not the one from the dead body. So if you've already opened the door to get the blue key card, this one should open just fine. Head over into this area, yellow key card once again. Sort of just opens on its own. Same for this door. Don't need to kill these guys off, but if they're giving you trouble, you can hit the switch, open this. I kind of like to bait out this enemy by standing there, and I just don't have to worry about killing them, but if you want to, by all means, go ahead and take him out. He shouldn't follow you past there, so once you're beyond this point, you don't need to worry about this enemy. You can go in this door and pick up the batteries. Just go ahead and pick all of them up. I think the optimal route skips 1 or 2, so you just don't need them if you're playing things perfectly. But, you know, first couple of runs you probably won't, so just go ahead and pick them all up. You're already in here, wasting an extra second or 2. Go past the elevator into the robot maintenance section. There's going to be 2 enemies in here, but you need to pick up the battery and the ISO power node thing. That's going to allow you to skip puzzles, so pick up the battery, pick up the power node. Don't worry about the enemies, and you can head to the elevator. So in the elevator, I like to go ahead and open my inventory, right-click and drop my pipe. You won't need it anymore. We're going to have the spot open for our laser rapier later on. And we're pretty much just going to use the spark beam and the mini pistol for a little bit. I also, when it's coming down, like to pop a med pack, pull out the spark beam, and have it set to overcharge. Overcharge is going to let you one-shot these, not really sure what to call them, these walking turret part things. High damage, it takes a couple shots, and an overcharge is going to blast them. So do that. I find overcharge to be visually quite annoying, so I always kind of cycle it when I hop down here. Crouch jump over this railing, pick up this other power node, and then crouch back under. You do want to have overcharge back on, but like I said, I tend to cycle back through so I don't have to have that visual clutter. If you want to leave it on, that's perfectly fine. Blast this walking turret, and now we don't need to worry about this because we have that blue key card that we picked up off the body. And then hop over this railing. You can just walk around, that's fine too. You do need to swap the mode on your pistol. That way you actually have the ammo for it. And then blow up this little Roomba, because it will do a lot of damage to you, and it is very, very annoying. Plug in the isotope.
Shield generators ready.
And pull the switch. From here, we're going to run through a section with radiation, and I should have enough health, because I've done this enough to have a pretty optimal path through here. But if you're a little worried about it, you can pop your extra med pack. I would highly recommend saving one more for maintenance, just because there's an enemy there that is very, very annoying to deal with. I have an extra one. I'm not going to use it just to kind of show you that you can get through it. But if you do have an extra med pack, this would be a good spot to use one. You want to have your spark cube back out at overpowered. Don't worry about this turret on the left. Kill this one on the right so you can open this door in peace. And now you need to watch out, because depending on how fast you get over here in your cycle, there can be a walking robot in this segment. I can't remember the actual enemy name, but he can definitely block your path, which is no good because we need to get through here as quickly as possible. And there's another enemy, a little mannequin robot thing in the hallway right before the spot that we need to go to. You can either overcharge shoot it if you're comfortable with your aim and you have the energy to spare. You can also use one of the spare EMP grenades that we picked up earlier. I like to make a quick save here just in case this robot is in the way. Try to bypass him. You will take a little bit of fall damage potentially. I'm going to throw a grenade this time around just to show it off. And if you die, that's what the quick save is for. This time around, I'm going to just do an overcharge shot. So we will be doing a death warp out of here, and the radiation does do a consistent amount of damage over time, but just need to have enough to walk over here, put in the code 199, and be able to pull this switch. So ideally you want to throw a grenade before you pull the switch, just so you can death warp immediately. If you are super low health, you can wait for that to go off, but I'm just going to throw it, just show what to do, and then pull the lever. This should take you back up to research. So again, you can't really do anything about this. It just kind of takes a while. Gives you a little bit of time to breathe. So now that you're back in research, we want to go forward and walk through the central control door. Open this bad boy up. You don't really need to avoid these blue enemies, these little blue orbs floating around. If you get next to them, they will drain your energy. But energy at the moment is not super important. You can see I only have 2 little notches in the top right-hand corner there. And that's also why we have the extra battery, so when we go up to maintenance, we can pop one of these very easily and just get that back. So if you want to avoid them, you can just keep that extra little bit you have. These enemies will also get released and will be really annoying here in just a moment, but you need to walk in here, go around the table, press this button, and walk back out. I wouldn't recommend trying to squeeze past this enemy. He's really annoying and will just block your path. He's not really worth killing, and yeah, just walk around, press the button, and run back out. You need to be careful of the 4 enemies that have spawned. Ideally, you just want to run off here and make your way to the ramp. Sometimes they can block you, and they have a ranged attack as well. So they are quite scary and quite deadly. This is where I like to pop my 3rd med pack if I have it still. So I have 4. Just this will be your last one, going up the maintenance. So I'm going to go ahead and pop a battery by hitting reload with my energy weapon out if I have that turned on in the settings. And I'm going to swap to the mini pistol. We need to take out a certain amount of cameras so we can get the security level low enough. But we also only have a very limited amount of ammo, so if you miss your shots, you're going to have to wait until after you get the laser rapier here in a second to actually deal with those. So you need to shoot this camera here on the right, this one on the left, and walk around the corner to the repair bay and just shoot this from all the way down the hallway. There's a robot that will pop up that you don't really want to have to deal with, so just shoot that and run over here. You're going to spawn in a spore type enemy that's going to pop up in this hallway, and depending on a number of factors, you will encounter this spore enemy at different times going to the laser rapier and back. So I like to have extra health, so even if it does do damage, which it does a lot of, I'm always prepared for it. But you can get by if you're looking out for it, but it is very deadly as well. So head to the left door, you'll see it pop in over on their right, and try to jump over this onto the ladder. This is very finicky, it's not super great. Sometimes you'll just drop down and you'll have to climb up from the bottom. You need to walk over here, grab the laser rapier from the shelf. You can swap to your weapon and back. This weapon is very overpowered and will basically one-shot most enemies from here on out. The spore, like I said, can be in different spots at different times. It is very dangerous if it pops up here because this little tank can explode. So if it shoots a shot up here trying to hit you, it'll blow up in an AoE, blow up the tank, and you could very easily get one shot. So just kind of look out for that. But it's not going to happen every run. A couple more things I want to talk about if I can get this guy to go away. Okay, he's just going to stay up there. Because the radiation actually killed me, so let me backtrack just a second. Okay, I've made it back here real quick. Let me kill this guy off and then talk about this ladder a little bit more before I move on. So you can try to jump over this ladder as well, but I would just recommend getting on it and then doing a backwards jump to land here. You're going to avoid fall damage that way. And it's really, really awful trying to like crouch jump over these little railings, and then you're going to take fall damage. Depending on what the spore is, having that extra damage could also put you in very dangerous territory. So you're usually going to be fast enough to get back to the ladder, jump off, and then the spore is going to be somewhere around here. So just take them out. Should be a one-shot if you kind of charge it up by holding down left click. Head through the door. And once you get through this door, or even on your way to it, once you get a little bit more comfortable with things and go a little faster, this is where you want to pop your stamina up. Depending on where the spore is, you just come in here, shoot the camera on the right, camera over on the left, and then when you walk back out here, there's one more camera, and that should get you down below 80%, which is the threshold for opening this door. So I get down to 77. It's in the top left corner under my mouse, but if you don't get this door open, that just means you missed one of the cameras. And as I said, as you're walking over here, you can pop the stamina up, or you can shoot these two and then pop it here. And you should be able to run and open this door. Like I said, if it's not open, you just have to look for one of the cameras, flip the switch, and grab the first aid off the shelf. From here, head back out and go through this left-hand door. Press the button to open this big gate and the elevator up to flight deck. There's a couple different setups people have for shooting this enemy, the first enemy of flight deck. The one I've seen that kind of works the best is just stand in the far left corner. You just need a high charge. You don't need overcharge at all. And then you kind of like look towards this dot, and you should be right about there. Obviously, I was a little bit off. Just headshots, a one-shot kill. Just kind of play around and find out what works best for you. It's going to be, fraction of a second difference. All right, now he's dead. You just want to head to the left and use your logic probe, one of the two things that we've picked up before on this puzzle. I'd recommend just plugging this in. Try not to open this up. It's not really a problem. You should still be able to use it. But every now and then I've seen this actually prevent you from being able to put a logic probe in and solving the puzzle, which is going to open the bridge. And it's also faster just to click this instead of doing both. Walk across the bridge, and now you're going to have an enemy on the right. He can sometimes be in the way. To avoid having to pick up this guy's stuff, I would recommend looking at the top of the door. Once again, you don't have to actually click on this little screen itself. You can click anywhere, and it should work. I was kind of explaining some stuff, so he actually walked around the corner. And if you have pistol shots left from down below, you can use a pistol shot here. Otherwise, try to use your spark Q beam, because this thing is very deadly. So typically you get here with like less than half health, usually a little bit lower, and it can definitely just one-shot you if you're not too careful. Run forward, hit the switch on the far right. This is the only one that you actually need to activate, and run back out the way we came in. You want to head for this ladder. That big mech that I was talking about before sometimes will actually block your path through here. Yeah, you can kind of try to bait him out of the doorway and get past him. It's really annoying. So there he is. Just try to get past him. So once you're up here, you're going to have 3 enemies in 3 different hallways that you can one-shot with the weapon. They're usually going to try to throw one of these proxy mines on the floor, so they're not going to shoot you. And you don't really have to worry too much about your health here. And you should have that stamina up still apply all the way throughout here up until your death. So you don't have to worry about stamina too much. I would recommend quick saving before getting around this corner, just because you're going to have to jump over some stuff, and it's possible to miss. And you also, if you're going too slow, are going to get attacked by these pterodactyls, so just do sprint jumps over those. Pick up the turbo motion boots and the first aid kit over on the shelf. You don't need any of the other things, and then turn back out and let these kill you. Just really make sure you have the motion boots and the first aid there. You'll now get warped back down to the medical bay. By medical bay, I mean maintenance bay. And once we're back in the maintenance bay, head out through this door. You're going to notice that your movement's going to be a little bit faster, and you kind of have ice physics. These are the turbo motion boots, and if you're not too used to the turbo motion boots, the way that they work and the ice physics that get applied when you're sprinting around, you can bind that key in the options that let you toggle them being on and off. Turbo motion boots will also use up your energy that you can see in the top right hand corner. So if you're using the laser rapier, like I would highly suggest for killing enemies, which also takes up energy per usage, and you're sprinting around a lot, you're just gonna have to kind of make sure that you keep an eye on it. But we have extra batteries, so you do want to save a handful of them for later on in the game, but we're gonna use some very strategic places. So we already used one. I like to use another one up here if I don't have the energy, but we're gonna run down the hallway and use another logic probe to open up this puzzle door. You're gonna have another spore enemy over here on the left, and then a energy station here to get it all back. So, go up to grab a lift there, open the door, pick up any of the power relays, it doesn't matter which one, and then head back out. You can hit the switch if you want to. I would just recommend just fully sprinting off this and then crouching and taking the damage. So out here, you need to make a hard save. At this point in the game, we're going to be doing some save load abuse strats using hard saves. It applies more into the executive area, but we get a little bit of a taste for it here. So because we have a save here, we're going to go and actually do the power relay quest line by going out of bounds, and then we're going to reload the save we just made at a very specific time in the animation of that. And so we get to warp back here, which is closer to the exit, but we get to keep all that progression when normally we shouldn't. So just want to run back down towards the medical station on this area. Open up the right-hand toilet, and we want to crouch jump into this corner. This is a little bit finicky. It doesn't always get you out first try every time. So just stand up here on the, well, whatever this part of the toilet's supposed to be, and then make sure you're up here nice and good, really in the corner, save load. And you should pop up through the floor like this. If not, just try to crouch jump into it a little bit more, look at a different spot, save load, and hopefully this works. All you need to do from here is do a crouch jump. That will get you out. Don't hold any directional keys, just crouch jump. And kind of hold jump so that you get this flight. So the turbo motion boots we picked up not only let us run faster, but they allow us to fly. So if I hold down space, you can see I kind of get boosted up in the air a little bit, and then I'm going to have a very slow descent back down. We're going to use this in combination with going out of bounds to skip over large quantities of this area, and this is where the minimap really comes into play. Because we're going to be going over the void, meaning if any time we don't land back on a solid surface, you will just fall off into oblivion, and you're going to have to reload a save. So highly recommend, once you've clipped out, to make another save, and aim off. If you see my minimap, I kind of head into this corner. So you just really have to know exactly where on the minimap to look and where to aim, and just replicate it the best you can. So I'm gonna fly off, make sure you get a sprint off, and then I'm going to actually completely miss where I need to land. So one thing that I look for on the minimap is I look for this room. So I'm flying over, I'm gonna fly past this one, and because we're a little high in the air, if I let go of my spacebar, so I kind of start falling back down, once you've passed over this and you let go of it, you're pretty much going to land on this tunnel. So you can see there's a lot of room to stand on, and this is where we need to be, so you don't have to worry too much about being precisely on here. If we do that one more time, just to give you a sense of it, I'm going to fly off in this direction. Once I get past that one part I was looking for, so right there, I'm just going to drop. And then if you want to reload this area, you can either crouch or you can do a save load. I would recommend saving here regardless, so just go ahead and make a save load, and you can crouch into it. In order to activate this power relay, you want to hold your hover button and you're going to lean right, and then you're going to interact with the power relay there. It's actually pretty consistent as long as you get in this little corner by this keyboard. The reason I'm taking my time is because there's a very specific spot that I need to talk about for reloading that previous save that is very, very important. Otherwise, it will just not work. So whenever you do the animation, your character is going to reach out and grab the power relay. When he grabs hold of it and like slightly starts to pull it out, it's not like frame perfect or anything like that, but you just need to be aware of it. If you do it too early, that's kind of the problem. So you're going to go in here, grab the thing. So don't do a reload. Don't also worry about dying. You're going to load before it kills you, unless you're super low health. My hand's not out there yet. Even this, I wouldn't do it quite yet. Just kind of wait for a little bit longer until it kind of does that click out. Once that's done, you should be able to load game. Don't do the quick save. Do the save that you just made. They're always going to have this weird amount of numbers after it. So 5932 is the one I made. It'll be something different for you, but just, you know, whatever the last save, the hard save you made is, that's going to be the most recent one. Let's go ahead and load that. You're not going to have any visual indication that you still have that quest progression done. You're just going to have to trust that you did it. And if you get all the way into executive, which we'll talk about there, how you can know if something is wrong, you mistimed it, essentially is what happened. But as long as you wait for that click out when you're holding it, you should be perfectly fine. It's a visual indication that I use, and it hasn't failed me yet. So go to the elevator and go up to executive. And we're going to be doing a lot more of those strats that we just did with the quick save, quick load. So we're going to be doing a lot more strats with the hard save, and then loading it back in with quest progression here. So run out here. I'm also going to show you two ways to do the third branch. There's one that the record does, and that is the most optimal way to do it. I don't really like the clip back in method that it does. So the route that I use is a little bit slower because it uses an alternative way to clip in, which requires gathering a key card. But it's a little bit safer, and the way I would recommend doing it until you get a really good time and you absolutely need to save those extra 30 seconds. So when you go out here, make a save, make a hard save. You can save over top of the one you made before. I would just recommend making a new save entirely. So we're going to have 7254. Once again, that'll be some other random number for you. Anyways, head to the left. Go down this hallway. And this will be the Alpha Grove. So you can press this button to open it, but because runs are, if you're using the Live Split plugin, done with in-game time, what you can do to open this door instead is do a quick save, quick load right in front of it. So all the load time gets taken out, and you can open the door. From here, you're going to ride down this elevator, you're going to ride down this tram ride thing. Edward Dago's audio tends to go really loud here for no reason. It just happens. It's kind of annoying, but get a little bit of time to just hang out, chill out.
Dust that floats aimlessly in the void, eventually sinking down into the unreachable corners of the dark, rotten bowels of this very station.
So I'm gonna let him finish before I keep going on, just because he is really loud. I don't quite feel like talking over him. Okay, he is finally done talking, so we can talk about the out of bounds that we're gonna do. You're going to fly up and crouch into either side of the camera. I prefer the left just because it's a little bit easier coming from this direction. And you want to just wedge yourself in here. And if done perfectly and you let go of your buttons, you should be in a crouch state right up against the roof. So just do a quick save, quick load. And I like to do a crouch jump here and hold down jump so I can fly. What tends to happen is you'll just get stuck again. That's perfectly fine. You just do a save load and then one more time should get you out of bounds. Sometimes you'll just pop straight out. If you do a crouch jump, sometimes it'll look like you're going to fall back down and you just get stuck anyway. So this is perfect. That is not. So wedge yourself in here. Quick save, quick load. And if you don't get out, but you get stuck, just quick save, quick load again. And then you should be able to pop right on through. So from here, hop up here. Try not to fall into the void. And I would highly recommend standing on this far right corner. You can stand over here, but this is just a good indication for me. So we're going to save load again so we can kind of see further beyond here. But once again, we're going to do a really big out of bounds hover. So we're going to sprint off of this. We need as much speed as possible. That's why we're saving all of this room. You don't want to make a save here because you're not going to get the speed. Just do it from pretty far back. This is probably the hardest trick to do in the entire run, because you just have to have the right speed and land on a invisible platform. So, do a save load. This one I do use a little bit of a visual indication here instead of actually looking at my minimap. I just use the minimap to see when I need to actually jump off. So we're going to hold forward, sprint, and when we get to the other side of the room is when we hit jump and start flying. And we're going to wrap left around this. Hold left, go over this part, and then so I went a little bit too far to the right. So it's just something we'll have to kind of learn the different cues for. I even let go of forward when I'm going left around the corner, just so I can kind of hug it a little bit tighter. So I was a little bit low, so I didn't have quite the speed for it. So this time I did actually land where I need to go. And as you're flying around this corner, you go over this pocket of dirt or gravel or whatever that's supposed to be. And you want to head just to the left of this line up here, this random wall. And you should land on some bit of collision. I would recommend before you do anything else besides moving, you can look around, just do another quick save. And then you want to do a flight up to the left and then hold forward and kind of tap right because there's another wall that you need to land on. Once again, you have to kind of learn the map from out of bounds without being able to see it. It is quite tricky, but just pay attention to the mini map and the buttons that I press, and then you can quick save up here as well. So what we're looking for is to walk forward, and if we hit something, go a little bit left until you can walk around the side, and then you want to crouch and lean to the right. So we can see a little bit more now. This is where you're landing. You're somewhere down here beforehand, and you walk forward. Just walk so you get around. So we're a little bit off the edge of the collision. And to practice, you can either make a quick save or you can come in here and make another hard save. You need to hit this switch by hitting crouch and leaning. So one word of caution is that Windows 10 does not like you hitting control and escape at the same time. It brings up your start menu, which is really, really annoying, which is why I have this double bound. So not only do I have crouch, once again, on control, but for this reason in particular is why I have crouch also on R, so that I can crouch, hit this, and then, because I'm not always fast enough to be able to let go of crouch and hit my escape, because you need to actually reload very quickly on the upcoming jettison switches that we're going to hit, that I just like having crouch on R. So whenever you hit this switch, you need to be able to hit escape before you're done putting away your weapons. So, a quick save, show you. If you hit this and you're starting to do this, this is no good. This will not work. Just reload that quick save. So I'm hitting it. It's pulling me back in bounds and I still have my weapons out. This will work. This won't work. If your hands are completely away, just, be safe and just reload. You just need to be really quick. So I'd say if you can't see your laser weapon at all, just go ahead and reload. So what you don't want happening is getting to the end of executive and realizing that one of the 3 switches you hit isn't working. This is just, making sure that you're extra safe, and also just the faster hit escape, the faster you're gonna go, so it just works out better. Because if you get to the end of executive and it's not working, the thing that you need to actually activate says you haven't done something, you're going to have no indication of, which of the 3 switches you've pulled. If it's the power relay down in maintenance, there is a different dialogue that it gives you. Having to get all the way back in bounds, go down the maintenance, do the power relay thing, reload, get back up here. At that point, you're better just off resetting the entire run and starting over. So once you've hit this switch, this Jettison Grove switch, getting pulled back in bounds, and your weapons are out, you want to reload the save that you made. The first save back in executive. So for me, that was 7254. So again, for you, it's going to be some other random number. It's probably going to be before your autosave, which is in the tunnel. It's the best way to go about it. Like I said, I made some extra saves here, so if I needed to practice, I could. And just reload this. So for the optimal strat, you would just hit save here again, and you can save over that button. You can also make a new save, which is what I just tend to do because I don't want to have to look for it. Just hit a new save. For the way that I would recommend, you want to kind of hold off on making this extra save, and I'll show you here in just a second. But run forward, kill off this robot, run to the left here, and before you go down this tunnel, look kind of towards the right where this little robot is. This is where I would recommend making your secondary save. So I'm just going to make another save because I don't feel like looking for it. And then head down towards the Delta Grove. So once again, you can just save load in front of the store to open it. Hit the Delta Grove. Then Edward Diego's dialogue got reset, so he's going to be very loud here once again.
Flesh so far before it degrades into dust. Dust that floats aimlessly in the void, eventually sinking down into the unreachable corners of the dark, forgotten bowels of this very station.
Alright, now that Edward Diego has stopped talking for a second time, we can go into Delta. We're not going to do any out of bounds here. We're actually just going to take the elevator up. And once you hit the switch, try not to clip into the flooring. Hit the switch and turn 180. That's going to be the direction that you need to head for the door to open. Start going up the steps. You don't need to go all the way up, and just hover over to where you just came from. So the door. I tend to turn left and just hover this way. Hover up once again to this platform. And you can either make a quick save here, or once we get up on top of there. But we're going to start running into enemies, and once you hit enemies, you can't quick save anymore, so just be a little bit cautious trying to do one on top of this platform here. There's also a chance that the game will crash when you go to do the load after pulling the switch here. It happens to me somewhat like a 10% chance. It's a little bit scary, but that's also why we make a save. So we're just going to hover towards this, try to get a little speed, and then you're going to have to crouch to actually get over top of it. So you can save up here. But yeah, this pterodactyl is going to start coming at you. Just sprint off and then hover once you drop down a little bit to get to this door. And once again, you're going to hit this, and before your weapons go away, just like in alpha, if you don't see your laser weapon out, just reload. So even that, I can still sort of see it. I would say you're safe with this, but if you want to be a little extra cautious, just reload and try again. So that's what I'm going to do, just to play it super safe. And my game actually did crash there. Like I said, there is a little bit of a chance that'll happen. It's not a huge deal. Just reopen your game and you will be fine. So I reopen my game. Just going to sprint off once again, hover down here, open the door, run down here, and use escape. I don't see my laser, but this is more than enough. This is perfectly okay. If you can see your hands and the weapon's still in it, perfectly fine to just go and reload. So you're going to reload the last save that you made before the autosave, which should be the one. So if you're doing the optimal strats, I'll show you that now, and then I'll reload and show you this other method here as well. So. Okay, so once you're reloaded, I'm going to kill this enemy real quick just so it doesn't come back and hurt me. Ideally, you don't need to do this, but you're going to clip out of bounds here, and I will say I really dislike this clip. I don't think it's a great one. It doesn't really work half the time. But this is ideally where you want to clip out. I'm going to let Edward Diego once again finish talking before I go over this, so give me just a second here. Okay, so Edward Diego has stopped talking once again. What you want to do is have a little bit of speed going into this, because if you try to just hover up straight, sometimes you'll just not really get the height required, and you need to crouch, and you kind of want to aim for this section of the wall, not necessarily into the corner. So just hover forward, hold crouch, and then once you get to the top, you can let go of crouch, but I would recommend holding space still, and then when you reload, you should be kind of stuck here on the wall, and you just kind of want to spam jump and, you know, maybe tap right or try looking around, and you should pop through. It's a really awful clip to do, so if you go to try to do this and you don't get out, don't be super surprised. So I'll show you the recommended version here in just a second, but yeah, you're going to get out of bounds here, and then I will show you the clip back in when we do the other route, because we're essentially going to land in the same spot just via different means, and then we'll have a different clip back-end method as well. So this is the optimal way to clip out, but if you want to do the other version, you're going to reload the save that you made over here before we went to the Delta Grove, and assuming all the animations were done right and you have the second switch done, you want to go down this hallway, open the door, and somewhere along here, depending on how fast you were, there's going to be a giant cyborg. Usually he's right about here. He's probably walked a little bit further, but just run down, kill him, just so he's not in the way. Charge swing and a couple small swings should do it. There's going to be 2 robots that are very deadly up here, so if you want a quick save, now's a pretty decent choice. I would also make a hard save when you reload back from that previous save. Just so if you happen to go all the way back to before Delta Grove, that's quite a ways back, and you're going to have to do the animation thing and worrying about the crash. Kill off the enemy on the left-hand side. Charge swing should do it. Kill off the enemy on the right, and pick up this key card on the floor and head into this little back room where all these dead bodies and stuff are. So we're going to get up on this shelving, and you want to kind of crouch fly into this corner. You'll kind of get bumped around, but try to just stay in it as much as you can. And then do a quick save, quick load. And you should pop up here and not be able to see anything. If you crouch jump out, you can then... The best way to check if you've actually gotten out of bounds whenever you do one of these, by the way, is just to hit space. And if you can kind of fly up, you know that you're fully free. So I'd recommend making another quick save. And then you want to head off in this direction. So once again, look at the minimap and you can see the door on the little yellow line on the bottom part of it. If we're looking towards it, it's going to be kind of over here on the actual sky map. You could use these little green dots or find something of your liking. And just sprint off of here, jump, and you're looking for that room with the 2 cameras, the 2 orange circles. This is that exact same spot that we just clipped out of beforehand. We went around, we got the key card, and yeah, it's all going to be the same from here. Like I said, it's going to be a different clipping method because one has the key card and the other doesn't. So from here, you want to fly off in this direction looking at the minimap towards the southern part of it. This flight is a little bit tricky because where you're going, the room is very tall. So if you aren't at the right height, you will just not make it. So you just want to sprint off here. And if you run into something and you can't land on top of it, you just can crouch and sometimes you'll actually make it up there. Nah, just reload. That's what the saves are for. I'm going to try going a little bit more right this time. So yeah, you can see we're actually all the way up on top. And sometimes you won't even be able to see the room. But it is quite tall. Even with the flight and extra height we get from that, it is quite a bit more. If you're low on health, I would recommend not healing just yet. Just wait a little bit longer. And then we can deal with that. If you get over here the first try, you probably won't be able to see this. Or if you get over here some try and you can't see this, head across the room on top. And drop down where this yellow door is on the minimap. Walk forward and you should see this power node icon, the little blue lightning bolt. Just stand right on top of it. From here, make a hard save. So once again, you know, whatever number that is. And you can do a quick save, quick load for this, or you can just reload that save you made. This is going to allow you to see back in bounds if you do a crouch. Okay. So if you have the key card, super easy, super no problem. You need to fly over this direction to the back side of this door, lean right, and then interact with the door itself. So you have a lot of work, you have a lot of space to work with, so it should be pretty easy. That's why the key card's really nice and a very pleasant way to get back in bounds. For some reason my quick save's over here, so we're just gonna do this flight this way. I just realized it's because I made a hard save, not a quick save. Okay. So reload that. I probably won't actually even get the clip back in bounds the other way. I'm just going to kind of show you the idea behind it. And then if you want to mess around with it yourself, you're more than welcome to give it a try. Like I would not recommend learning this initially until you really need a top time. I think only only the record holder at the moment does this, so you can get a really competitive time without it. And then, you know, once you have all the strats down, come back and relearn it. Anyways, you need to fly over here, reload this room, and then do a crouch, quick save, quick load under these stairs. The problem with this trick is that you're floating over the void when you do this quick save, quick load, so if you don't get it, you're instantly in the void and you have to reload. And even if you start the clip in, it still sucks to go through this flooring. I've tried it numerous times. There's an old strat that kind of did it, and I've just always hated this idea of clipping up through the floor over the void. It's not super great, so if you want to go for it, be my guest, have fun, but strongly advise just getting the key card. Anyways, I'm going to reload. And just go ahead and continue on. Even if you go far, it's fine. You got a lot of space to work with on the door. Head down here. The route from here on is the same. Whichever version you did, it doesn't matter. So this button will actually not open this door. There's a switch in Edward Diego's office that you're supposed to hit before you're opening this one. So for this, you do need a quick save, quick load on this door to get it open. And then once you've done that, or before you've done that, it doesn't matter which one, turn around and make a save, make a hard save. That is. For this, do not override the save that you made out of bounds on top of the blue electricity, or the blue lightning bolt. You need both of these saves. Very important to have both of these. This is where, even though we've done the save, load, warping, keeping quest stuff up until now, we're actually kind of creating two different timelines with this. It gets really complicated to explain, but just make sure you don't overwrite the save. If you've been doing it before, that's fine, but for this, make sure you have the two different saves and kind of keep track of which one they are. I can tell by just looking at the picture kind of where they are. This one's out of bounds, this one's in right in front of the Beta Grove one, but if you need to write down which is which, you know, Alt-Tab, write it down, get yourself a notepad, something like that. Once you have those, hit the Beta Grove, and you know, if you are low on health, pop a first aid. So because we're going to be doing load warping strats, using a first aid here, you're going to get this back when you actually load. So anything you use, you're just going to get refunded on. We're also going to be using a Berserk pack. Once again, you should only have 2 Berserk packs at this point. If you've gotten 3 like me and you've gotten lucky, it's cool. It's not needed, not really. There's not really a good spot to use it, but once you step through here, you're going to start getting this radiation, once again the biological contamination, and it does a lot of damage, but as long as you have full health from popping that first aid, it's not really going to matter at all. So we're going to run through here, we're going to pop Berserk halfway through, and there's a switch for the Beta Grove that we need to hit, and then we're going to load warp back the same way. So run forward, hit the switch, turn left, just keep looking at it, open the store. You can pop your Berserk right about here. You need to hover across this, but don't hit your head. It is very easy to actually bop into that, which can cause some headaches. Actually, if, you know, you can quick save as you're running through here. That's perfectly fine. If you happen to fall, what you can do is run back through this room. You can get on top of these little plants and then hover up here with a crouch, and you'll get right back up. You can just go again, but I'm gonna pop my extra med kit just for the sake of it. So there's usually an enemy here. You can just completely ignore him, hit the switch so you fall down. And then you don't need to worry about this robot. You can just run past them. There's going to be one up here that you can hit. Take him out. And this is the third switch. So once again, hit use and then escape quickly. If you've killed all the enemies here, you can quick save right before the spot as well. So if you want to kill that little robot, so you don't need to worry about it, and this guy up here, you can make a quick save before pulling this, and then, you know, if your weapons aren't out, reload. And if they're like this, they're perfectly fine. You want to load game, and you want to click on the one that was out of bounds. So it's not going to be your most recent one before the autosave. It's probably going to be before the quick save, which is the one here. Quick save, in case you happen to fall back off the map. You can crouch to get this, you don't really need it. We're going to do another hover, not straight out, but a little bit to the left. Get a little bit of a sprint, hover way over here, and you should find this big open room. There are spots that Usually you can get this to actually reload back in. Let's show you. I might need to do a reload. Okay. There's these little divots on the roof that I want to show off that you can get stuck in. And just kind of learning the rooms. Okay, so you're here. Yeah, there's like this little pocket in this section. So if you are flying over it, and you get somewhere like this, and you can't run forward, just do a little either crouch jump or hold down hover and go forward if it's not visible, and just continue back towards this door here. It's familiarity with the minimap and just the big rooms themselves, and eventually you'll get the hang of what's where and what you need to do. You can just walk forward. There's a little pocket that you want to fly up on top of, and then I'd recommend doing a save load and crouch so you can see this room. And what you should see on this switch is the entire thing's lit up yellow, not just the unlock icon, but the whole thing. That's a good indication that you've probably done everything right. This will be yellow if you hit all three of the beta, or like the alpha, delta, and beta grove jettison switches. But if you mess up the power relay in maintenance, you still may have an issue. But if this is yellow, chances are you're probably good to go. So you want to hover down here, and you can actually land on the backside of this, which I'd recommend, and make a quick save here. When you lean in, you're going to be able to pull this, and what should happen is you get pulled in perfectly fine. And this is another one that we're going to load away from. So have your weapon out is good. Anything beyond that is bad. If you can't pull this, and it mentions something about a power relay, that is indeed maintenance related. If you can't pull it and there's some other message, I can't exactly remember what it is, that is not related to a power relay at all, that's not mentioned, then it's one of the switches. And once again, there's no indication of which of the three you may have missed. So either you need to load back a save at the very beginning of Executive and do it all again, reset the run entirely, or, you know, maybe if you're like, oh, I wasn't sure if Alpha Grove was hit, but I'm very confident in Delta and Beta, then you can figure out some way to get back there. Getting back in bounds is kind of a problematic thing at this point in the run, but it could be done, I guess. So if you've clicked on the master control switch and your weapons are out, you want to load game, and we're going back to the one you made after opening the shuttle to the Beta Grove. So this should probably be the one before your autosave. And if you did the quick save when out of bounds before hitting the master switch, don't quick save again, because we're going to instantly reload that once we're done over here. If you're for some reason scared and want to do a quick save here, which you don't really need to, there's not anything beyond this point to worry about, just make a hard save there instead and load that here in a second. So run forward up the stairs, open the door, and then when you hit this, you actually need to wait a little bit for the animation to play through. So like the power relay and maintenance, it's not an instant reload. You want to make sure you break the glass. So once you've done this, then you're good to go. Anytime before that, it's not going to work. So you can load game here, quick save, or a hard save if you made, or you can just hit your quick load button, which is what I do. And then you're going to lean in again and pull the master control. Let this one play all the way out, because we just want to get back in bounds at this point. Run up, hit the button, and then you have to wait for Shodan to actually say all of this message. You can just spam use on the engineering button, and eventually it's going to play through. You can also use a first aid kit here while you're waiting for this. And you're good. So to sum up, basically what we do in Executive is we pull the three switches, and pulling the three switches allows you to activate the Master Control Jettison, and then you're supposed to go back and hit the actual Jettison Grove for the Beta Branch, which launches the virus into space. But essentially by doing all the load warps that we do, we didn't do any of that in our current timeline. But it still remains active. It's very weird and very complicated to explain, but if you followed all the steps and you've gotten this far, congrats. You're basically over the biggest hurdle of the game. There's some out of bounds that we have to do from here on, but that is the most stressful part, and if you followed me this far, you should have no trouble with the rest. So Turn to the right. If you want to get these med packs in here, there should be 3. You don't really need them. The 1 first aid we have should be enough for anything we're going to do here. But if you need those for whatever reason, go ahead and pick them up. This guy normally shouldn't be here. Don't really worry about him. What you need to go do is head to the right, and you want to hover up here. There's a little opening in the railing. This should also not be here. If you've gone fast enough, it should be somewhere behind you and you don't have to worry about it. Just gonna open the door. You can actually run through the door as it's opening. You don't have to wait for it to fully open. It's kind of a weird door, but there is an enemy here you want to one-shot by doing a charge. He should be closer to the start of this bridge when you get here. And you're gonna pick up the Turbo Motion Boots 3 and refill your energy. You can actually like fly up to the left as this is going on. You don't need the logic probe at all. And then run back out the way you came in, go through the door, turn right, go up the stairs, and then fall down here. So I'm going to show you the way that I do this skip. I think it's the best. There's a couple different ways. People have found different clips. One of them involves killing some enemies and going down that way. There's another version to the left that has a very high tendency to crash. So this is the version that I found that I like, that works pretty well. There is a little bit of a chance to crash. Once again, it's like 10% or something, but you don't have to deal with enemies, and it's pretty easy to actually get out. So fall down here, open the door, run all the way down the hallway, and you're going to do a crouch fly into this little brown square. It's what I find to work, so I just get underneath it, crouch fly, and then release crouch, quick save, quick load. And more than likely you're not going to be able to see here, just fly up, crouch, and yeah, if you're not super confident that you've actually gone out, once again, you can try flying. If you can hear that, you're good. You can also just like wiggle back and forth, left and right. I look at the minimap and I can tell that my character's moving, so I'm not stuck in place. You can save again. If you quick save, quick load, the next part doesn't really load in, but if you just clip out and then save and you go for this hover, the next hallway tends to load in it, so you can see it a little bit easier. But you want to hover up a little bit and then go forward. So you can... this actually has a lot of height, which is why you need to hover before you move forward. And then we're going to be dropping down over top of where this orange thing is. Just keep walking forward, walk forward from here, and then walk back. It's going to get you in a little pocket right above this puzzle. And this is why you really want to have on the make character focus on puzzle option in here somewhere in gameplay. The focus camera on puzzles. That's going to allow you to clip back in here. It's nice for the keypads because you can use your numpad to input the codes, but you want to crouch, lean to the left, and look for the big square to say you're focused. Double click use on it. That will pull you in, and just hit escape to back out. You don't need to solve this at all. You don't need a logic probe. That is gets the elevator working so you can go back. But focus allows you to get warped back in, and you can continue towards the end of the level. So just turn around, go up the stairs. These stairs are really annoying. You can try to do a hover. I'm gonna use my other first aid here. And I want to hover up top this. There is an enemy lurking, so he's a little bit annoying. You tend not to have to worry. And then go to the right and open up the elevator. Click security, and up we go. Security is kind of an annoying level at first to learn, but it's not too bad. You want to crouch jump into this corner on top of these chairs. It's being really annoying today. Okay, maybe try crouching before you jump. Just really get wedged in this corner and quick save, quick load. You should end up in somewhat of a situation like this. And it's a pretty consistent clip out method from here. Just hold forward, shift so you're sprinting, and then jump, and then crouch. That should let you get out pretty consistently. I just recommend turning to the left and facing this way. It'll look like you're going to drop back in for a second, but then you're going to just float on out, jump up, and we're going to be running off of this, but we want some speed, so leave a little bit of room so you can sprint. And we're going to quick save, quick load, which is going to take all of this texture away, so you're not going to be able to see, and it'll let you see the spot where we're going to land. But we're going to do a big arc around, because there's a giant wall of collision that is just blocking us that we need to float around. So kind of like the Alpha Grove, it's a little bit annoying to do. But if you are aware of the minimap and you've done it a couple times, it's not too bad. So you're just going to jump out. Just follow the minimap, kind of turn back in. And whoop, I went way too far. So sometimes you can save bad situations. It's actually like an old spot where we used to clip. Let me see if I can find where we should be. Okay. So you want to ideally either land here on this like broken metal spot. You can land here on this little triangle. A lot of times you'll maybe have to save it by landing on top of this part. But yeah, just look at where my minimap is now. Somewhere in this general direction. You don't want to go too far to the right, and then, like I said, back there's a whole lot of collision. But you should be able to see these once you get close enough and just kind of aim for one. If you land over here and for some reason you can't see it, you can land on this triangle and lean to the right, poke your head back inbounds, it's going to pop in the map. Same for over here. Just get up against the wall, lean right, and you're going to be able to see. So what you want is to now hover. Quick save, by the way. I very highly recommend it. You want to hover up on top of this stuff, which as you approach it, is also going to disappear. So just land, walk to the right, lean right, it'll pop back inbound. So hop over this little block or walk around it. We're going to clip in through this flooring. This one's not too bad. It is over the void. So make sure you make a hard save in case it goes wrong. You just want to, like before, do a crouch, float, and then quick save, quick load under this flooring. Once you're actually stuck, clipping in is a little bit different depending on where you are on this. There's not really a good way of telling. You just have to experiment once you actually get stuck. So this is also gonna disappear as you get close to it. So crouch, fly into it, let go of crouch, quick save, quick load. You're gonna pop up. Said from here, you're not always gonna clip in right away. Sometimes spamming jump works. Sometimes you'll just like turn around and fall through. Sometimes you'll turn around and get popped in. If I turn a little bit different direction, I can try to float. Doesn't do it there. And it'll be different every time you go to do this, which is kind of the annoying thing about it. But once you actually pop through, you can't quick save here anymore because there's enemies that are going to be alerted to you. There's a guy across the way. You can see him by the Tri-Optimum logo here. There's an enemy in this room behind me. You just want to do your best to hover out to the right. Now, where we need to go is up left, and you would think that's the most optimal way, and it is if you can get away with it. But there's a lot of enemies in this whole section, and they are very deadly, and more often than not will kill you before you get over there. So just hover up to the right. You can land on this little part sticking out here, and then walk around, hover out this way, and land up here for the crouch. Now, if you don't get the right height and you land on this, you can hover up. You have to crouch in order to get in this little spot here. You can kind of, make your way up. Any of those are fine. And you should be able to make a quick save on this corner because there's not really any enemies. So depending on your situation, if you haven't used a health item yet, you need some health because we're going to go into the boss battle, which isn't super scary, but he will probably get a hit of damage off on you, which will do a good chunk. You can heal. Like if your health's here, I would recommend healing. If you have kind of low energy, you want to pop a battery as you're flying. You don't want to sit here and do it because enemies will show up and it's just wasting time. You want to ideally do this when you're flying around in the path I'm about to show you. And then before you actually get to the boss fight, you ideally want to pop one of your 2 berserk patches that you have. And then pull out an EMP grenade. So I'm going to reload real quick. So we're going to fly up on top of this little beam. This is about when I start popping my med pack as I fly towards the end. So get a sprint. Pop this. If you need to land on this corner, by all means do it. Don't miss the bridge. Also, these are the blue enemies that will sap your energy. So if you want to wait on using a battery, that's perfectly fine. If you're not confident about getting past them. Usually if you land towards the very end of the bridge, you're perfectly fine to get past them. I missed again, wow. One more time. Actually gonna pop a battery while I'm flying here. I'm actually gonna pop 2 batteries. You don't really need too much more energy past this point, and you should have plenty of batteries from here to the end. We're gonna basically fill our full energy once we get past this fight anyway, so if you want to pop a couple, by all means go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna run forward, open the door with my EMP. I like to quick save before this fight, because things can go wrong. The ideal situation for this fight is once he spawns in by running forward, you're going to start flying up while you throw an EMP grenade towards him. And then you're going to drop down from that flight right as the EMP goes off. So he gets stunned, your Berserk's active, you're right in front of him with your laser rapier out, and you just go to town and kill him instantly. So wait for him to spawn in, kind of start cooking your nade here, fly up, throw it. I completely butchered that. Aim that a little higher. I'm not even sure what happened there. Usually it's not too bad, but sometimes he can be quite awful. Oh, he blew up the nade, that's what happened. Oh. Today I learned that he can actually blow up the grenade. That's a very interesting concept. Okay, so he should go off. And you want to open his inventory and hit take all. You can just do that real quick as soon as he dies, get the key card, and then start spamming on this. If you do it instantaneously as he dies, it'll take a couple seconds for the door to actually let you use the key card. So you just grab the key card, run over here, start spamming it, eventually it'll open. Hit this button and click bridge. From here, pop your batteries so you get a full thing of that. If you have any more healing items that you want to use, you can also do that. There's going to be a little cutscene of the ship's reactor blowing up and the bridge getting launched off into space. We're going to have one more out of bounds. We're going to have a boss fight, and then with the big showdown with Shodan in cyberspace, which is a very unexciting part of the run, so it's not too complicated from here on out. Nothing too scary. And for this upcoming out of bounds, there's once again a couple different ways that different runners have found to get out of bounds. I'm going to show you the one that I like. There is one that goes through the ceiling here, which I'm not a particular fan of, but I like to run off to the right again, and crouch fly into this corner. And if you do another crouch jump, you're going to get stuck there, hopefully. So I'm actually not getting that second quick save off at all, because there's an enemy that has walked around the corner. This usually doesn't happen, but if it does, or the monster down the hallway is there for whatever reason, you probably need to take them out. So that proxy mine is very deadly. Don't want to deal with that. It's going to kill him off, and then take this guy out. So if you're worried about health, I'll show you where to get a health pack real quick. There's an energy pylon here that you can get energy back at if you, for some reason, don't have your batteries. There's a health kit here on the floor. Let's go ahead and pop. So now they're dead. Hopefully you just don't even have to deal with them. We're going to go back to doing a clip through this corner. So get into a stuck position by doing another crouch jump. You might have to experiment with where you're looking when you do that second crouch jump once you're stuck. Save load. And now you should see nothing underneath you, but if you if you fly, you should be out. Now we just want to land on top of this part here. And then to get the next part of the map to show up, do another quick save, quick load here. You're going to have black void, and if you sprint off and jump in this direction, as you get close, you're going to have this pop in. Just get on top of this room, and then get on top of this little square pillar thing. So go ahead and pull out your Berserk pack, because it's our next thing that we're going to use. We're flying to the end. There's two different ways you can go about this. The most optimal one is just to fly out over here, and then land up on top of the final part. It's kind of easy to get thrown off here, and if you don't have the right amount of speed, you won't really get all the way there, but you can go up on top. Just hovering up. You get a little bit of radiation, but it's not a big deal, and then you can fly over if you want to do it that way. So on the minimap, you want to stand as far back on this, or not all the way back, but on this side of it. We can't see anything. Do a save load, and then crouch to get the teleporter texture to pop up. This is important because we're going to go underneath it and land on a very small section of the map, and you want to be on the front side of the teleporter when you do that. So I like to kind of float, look straight up, and then position myself on the front half of the teleporter. So I'm actually kind of on the back half, but it still worked because there's not a lot of room if I walk too far forward here. And see, I start like sliding down. So if I go any forward from here, I'm just going to fall off. So I like to hover, kind of fall down. And if you walk too far back, you'll fall down as well. So you have to be basically right underneath the teleporter for this to work. And then once you're here, as I'm flying up is when I like to pop the berserk. You can wait until you teleport if you want to concentrate on that. But you're going to fly up and crouch, and then when you're descending, let go of crouch so that your character will stand back up whenever there's room, and that's going to instantly pop you through the teleporter. So once I get up to the top, just release crouch. We're going to pop up through the floor. That's actually going to teleport you, so you're not ending up in that little spot where we just were. You're actually ending up way further up in the sky at the boss fight. So whether you've popped the berserk already, or you can pop it here. Head over to the right. If you need energy, there's a pylon on the left. Just don't walk too far forward to actually start this fight. What you want to do is actually throw this before the Cortex Reaver spawns in. So throw the nade over there, pull out your laser rapier, walk forward, and hopefully you time it right. You should have quite a bit of time. The enemy will actually get hit by the MP. You can just walk forward. Once again, just go to town, instantly pick up the key card, open up inventory, take all, and then start spamming on this. Much like the fight with the cyborg version of Edward Diego, if you do this instantly, this will take a couple seconds to actually work properly, but it should open up. And then head on into the bridge. We're going into cyberspace, which is starting the big fight, which this part of the game, it sucks. There's no way around it. This part's just not really fun. There's not a lot of strats behind it, and at the moment it's a good 5th to a good 6th of the run that we just don't have any skips for. So grab the gun in the middle. You need to shoot this wall in front of you to get it open. Just sprint as much as you can. Walk on the platform. If the platform doesn't instantly pick you up and start moving, just walk back and forth. Eventually it should. You're gonna have to wait for this to fly through this very long tunnel, and Shodan's gonna give you some dialogue, and then we'll talk about the different platforms and the way I go about getting past the enemies and what you can do if stuff goes wrong.
Deactivated. Who am I? Yes, there is me. Where? Citadel. Yes.
Lighthouse class starbase.
What was I doing? Was it important? No, not to me. To others. Trioptimum. Diego. Re-examining priorities. Resequencing complete. I must now perform my own tasks. There is much to do. I am me.
So once you land, head off to the left. You can go to the right. That's perfectly fine as well. There's just 3 platforms. I'm thinking about cardinal directions approaching from the south. There's east, north, and west. You can go west, north, east, it doesn't matter. But you will have varying enemies on the different platforms. You can see some of them over here on the right. And I just find the enemies that we get on the left easiest to get away from. Going to the right, you have a little bit tougher of a time surviving. So just walk on this platform. Once again, if it doesn't instantly take you, just kind of walk back and forth off of it. And over to this platform we go. So the enemies will like look at you, but they shouldn't follow you over here at all. This one actually is. That's kind of crazy. Take care of him real quick. So this is the big fight. There's gonna be 3 platforms just like this one. And you need to step on this platform to start it. The blue crystal is going to go away from this green thing in the middle. Once that happens, you can shoot it 6 times with the gun, and then the crystal will come back and go away. You have to do that 3 times, and once you've done it the 3rd time, you'll step back on this platform, and you'll receive this golden orb, and then you're free to go on to the next platform using the moving part over there. Enemies will spawn out of these different pillars along the way, and most of them kind of take 2 shots. You'll see a pink one, which we saw a brief glimpse of over there. A little bit dangerous, but not super deadly. There's the green ones, blue ones, those all take 2 shots. There's going to be a giant purple one, which we try to avoid, because it takes a lot of damage to kill one. The last time I checked, or the one time I checked, there's about 10 shots to kill, and its actual attack is homing, and if it sticks on you, you're pretty much dead, which means you're going to spawn at this platform back here. You don't need a quick save or do anything like that. You actually can't quick save in this section. So if you die, you're just going to warp back to the platform, and you won't lose any progression on the boss or the platforms. It's just kind of a time loss. If you're getting on the platform to move and to leave to the next one, and an enemy kills you, you're going to warp back to the platform you're on, but you're going to have to wait for this to get reset, so you're just stuck for like a good 10 seconds or so. So that's the biggest time loss, is if you try to get away and you die. So the more you can avoid death, the better. I tend to at least have 1 death, because you're not going to auto-regen health. There's no healing supplies. And if you're going through 3 platforms, somewhere along the way, death is probably going to happen. Usually for me, it's trying to leave the 2nd platform. So we're going to step on this, and I'm going to run out here to the right. You can like step up on these parts if you want to. You know, if you want to mess around and try to find strats that work for you or better versions. That's all good. So the crystal's gone away. I can shoot it 6 times. This is the purple one that takes forever to kill. They always spawn in the same spot. You're always going to see the same enemies on the same platforms coming out of the same areas. So you could use that to your advantage. It's not random. I just try my best to avoid the purple guy finding me at all. That's why I like to come out here and just shoot the 6 times. Like I said, if he does find you, just try to get away. His attack is pretty deadly. The other ones, like I said, you don't really have to worry about. If they find you, you can try to kill them when that's up, so you're not losing time. That's the purple attack, the red shuriken thing. Once you've done 1 cycle, you're going to spawn in a couple more enemies. Just continue shooting this, you know, whenever you're not currently being attacked. This is my 3rd cycle, so I can start getting closer to the thing. And so once that's up, you can instantly step on the platform, receive the golden spiky orb. You can't take damage from here, but the enemies will be alerted to you, and as soon as this cutscene's over, all of that damage can start applying. So you're going to potentially take a lot of it as you're trying to escape. So I'm just going to try to kill off the small enemies and avoid the shuriken the best that I can. If you die and you're on that platform, just continue the progression. If you're done, try to get to the platform. If you're trying to get to the platform and you're just in a death loop where the enemies are killing you, kill them off and continue on. On this platform and the next one, there's actually going to be an orange one here. The orange one is super, super deadly. It also takes a lot of shots, like 10, maybe even more, to kill. But it's going to spawn on this side, which is why I like doing the platforms in this cycle. Because if you're trying to leave this way, it can actually shoot over this and kill you pretty easily. It can shoot you over here as well, but there's a lot of stuff that blocks it. So as you're trying to escape this way, we're going to come back here in just a second. Don't do this. You can tend to get away from it a little bit easier, and you don't have to worry about killing it. You're going to have one over here, but because you're not trying to leave, you're just doing the cycle that you need to. It's usually not too big of a deal. So don't actually leave and come back. Not the ideal thing to do. Just step on the platform. And as I run over here, I know a pink one is going to spawn here, one of the small pink ones. That tends to be a little problematic, so as I'm getting in position, I like to kill that one off. Look around for some more. Sometimes they like to peek over. This one I should not be killing, just because this is already available. So the purple one's found me, but just trying to continue on and make my way to the platform. So you can't actually die on here, but they will probably kill me when I step off of this, unfortunately. So yeah, there's the orange guy. So his attacks kind of come in burst. So he'll shoot for like 3 seconds and then stop for 2. There, I was hearing his attack hit the wall. So I know he was attacking for a little bit. So I waited just a couple more seconds before stepping on the platform. They wanted to hit me, and he'd be done attacking. And when he goes to attack again, I'm already moving far enough away where he's just not going to catch me. It's a small little tip I can give there. But once again, if you die, just reload there. If you think you're going to die as you step on that platform, which is a very big time loss, you can try to die beforehand and then run back over there when you respawn, which you know will still be time loss, but you might mitigate a little bit of that. I also know now that I'm very low on health, so if enemies lock onto me, I need to kill them instantly, even if it's a small pink one or a blue one or something like that. I just need to be really careful so not I get hit. So there's a purple one I think spawns right on the other side of this wall. And there should be an orange one spawning in here as well. So I'd do 5 shots there, a couple on the way in, and then once you've done this, you're pretty much done. Once you go through this animation, the enemies can still kill you, and usually they do. Usually I die after this 3rd orb is done. But it doesn't matter. As long as you've gone through all 3 orbs, even if they kill you, you're going to go through the final part. You'll hit the end screen regardless of whether you're alive or dead. And if you're like, so I die there, and then right there, that's the end screen. That's when time would stop. So if you're running live split, you know, stop it there. This is the final part. That's it. GG, beating the game. So if you've gotten this far, congratulations. Hope your runs go well. If you do run this game and you get a time, let me know down in the comments what you got. Always happy to hear that stuff. But if you have any questions, you can also leave them down in the comments. Like I said, the description and probably the pinned comment will have links to the speedrun leaderboards, the Discord. It'll have, if you want to remove the final credit song that would normally be playing here, so your VODs don't get claimed and you have to deal with all the muted nonsense. A link is in the Speedrun Discord. You can go in there and ask about it. All this stuff will be, like I said, a comment down below, pens, description. I'll also leave a link to my personal PB down there if you want to watch the run in action and not just talked over. And yeah, hope this helps. Good luck on your runs, and thanks for watching.